Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called If There's Room. I used to work at a regional airline. The jet we used for our flight to the big city had 6 business class seats. The business class service was really good for a 2-hour flight. It included a full bar service, a hot meal, warm bread basket, followed by a trolley with dessert and signature coffee. The good old days. One of our regular travelers was a local business owner, who was just a slimy businessman. He had a reputation for making a lot of money from some pretty shady deals over the years. We would roll our eyes when we saw him coming to the check-in counter, because he would always name drop and ask for special treatment. He always used the business class check-in line, even though he was usually in economy. He didn't have frequent flyer status, but he was buddies with one of the airline executives and always let us know this fact when he checked in by making sure to tell us that he was good friends with Vice President Karen. He would always ask for free upgrades, extra baggage, not charging a change fee, last-minute discounts, etc. If he didn't get what he wanted, he immediately called VP Karen, who would usually then call us and approve whatever it was he wanted. So one day he checks in for his flight to the big city, and of course names drops and asks for a free upgrade to business class because I'm friends with VP Karen, who said it would be okay. He was traveling on a discounted ticket that was not eligible for an upgrade, even if he did have an upgrade coupon, which he didn't. I informed him that he was not eligible for any upgrades on this ticket and gave him his boarding pass and sent him on his way. Of course, he flips open his cell phone and immediately calls VP Karen. Within 2 minutes, the phone at the check-in desk rings. It's VP Karen, authorizing me to override the policy to upgrade him to business class with no upgrade coupon required, if there's room. The flight that day wasn't that busy, and only one person booked in business class, leaving 5 open seats. I was really irritated, but I begrudgingly put him on the upgrade list anyways. He returned to the check-in counter and picked up his standby boarding card and gave me that smug "told you so" look. But then, what VP Karen said clicked with me. If there's room. The next passenger I checked in was a super nice lady. A big smile, friendly, please and thank you. Oh, thank you so much for checking my bags for my connecting flight. That's so nice of you. I was taking my time, and we were chatting a bit since it wasn't that busy. She was a teacher going on a trip to see her family, and it was her first visit with them in over a year. And she was going to meet her new little nephew for the first time. She was overjoyed just to have the time off to travel. I typed a few things into the computer to make it look like I was checking something about her connecting flights. Then I said, "Oh, you have been selected today to receive a free upgrade to business class." She was shocked. I've never flown business class in my life. This is so amazing. At that time, we were rarely questioned if we upgraded someone without a certificate. Over the next 20 minutes, I found excuses to upgrade 4 other passengers. One who worked for one of the top corporate accounts, one who was legitimately a frequent flyer, can't remember the other reason. But by the time I went to board the flight, I had to tell the businessman that I was sorry, but the business class was full and couldn't offer him an upgrade today. The teacher I upgraded profusely thanked me again when she boarded with the rest of the business class passengers. Little did she know that it really made my day. The next story is called Engineer Knows Best. I used to test circuit breakers for a living, the large industrial versions of what you have in your home electric panel. Like the ones at home, most industrial circuit breakers have 2 means of detecting an overcurrent condition. Thermal, literally an element that heats up for seconds or minutes before opening the breaker, intended for small to moderate overcurrent events. And magnetic, reacts almost instantly to very high overcurrent events. For special applications like firefighting pumps, you can buy circuit breakers that have magnetic only. Test methods are specified by the manufacturer and by the International Electrical Testing Association. I was testing a large number of circuit breakers at a customer facility. The customer rep got used to my pattern of testing a group of thermal elements, allowing them to cool down, and only then testing the magnetic elements. When the fire pump circuit breaker came to my test station and I only tested it for magnetic trip, he objected. "Hey, why did you skip the thermal? This is a magnetic only breaker. There's no such thing. Here's the manufacturer data showing the magnetic trip curve, but not showing a thermal trip curve. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a thermal trip. I want it tested." Okay, well, since I don't have a curve from the manufacturer, I don't know how long it should take to trip. How long do you want me to test? The NITA testing manual says that without a curve, if it trips in less than 300 seconds, it is good. Please sign here that you are making me do this test. Okay, and with that he signs the paper, not realizing this was supposed to make him suspicious. Having failed my first attempt to scare him off this foolish path, I try another tactic. Over the radio, I said, "Hey coworker, I'm about to test the thermal element on a fire pump breaker. You want to watch?" "It doesn't have one, idiot. You're gonna destroy the customer's breaker." Yeah, I told him that. He doesn't believe me. I'm on my way. Coworker arrives and goes to explain to the customer, "But you are both wrong. I'm an engineer and you are just technicians. Do the test. We're gonna need you to sign." I already signed. Just do the test. So I start the test. All morning, the previous thermal tests have been running 8 to 10 seconds before tripping. For this test, 10 seconds pass, then 20, then at 30 the breaker starts to smoke a little. And by 40 seconds the smoke is pouring out of it and my hand is hovering over the stop button. But I'm not stopping until he admits he's wrong, because he told me it wouldn't be a failed test until 300 seconds. He gives in just before the 60-second mark. Then I asked, "Can you bring me the spare breakers from inventory please? This one cannot go back into service." And his face takes on a panicked expression. They didn't have a spare. Good thing the local electrical distributor was open on a Saturday. The last story is called Not Allowed. This is a story from a few years back when I worked as an outside sales agent at a company that did government phones. I live in Oklahoma, and if you've never been to Oklahoma, we have what is known as a tornado season. With tornadoes come high winds, and my daily setup involves setting up a canopy tent outside. We tie it down upon setup and secure it, but there really isn't much we are able to do for them in high winds. The company always said don't stay outside when the winds pick up, as they would rather not have to pay for new tents every week. My supervisor though? She always said to stay out and ignore what her bosses would say on the morning Zoom calls about tearing down. This compliance takes place over the course of a few weeks. The wind was high one day. It was about 50 miles per hour, and my setup for the day was one where there wasn't much around to secure it to. I always managed to do it just fine, but when high winds happens, the legs were going to snap, and I wasn't even allowed to set at half height. Said winds were picking up, and I shouldn't be keeping the tent up so it wouldn't break. Boss said I wasn't allowed to. So over the course of about 2 or 3 weeks, I let 10 or 12 tents break, and it got to the point the bosses had definitely noticed. I cost the company easily a grand or two before my supervisor was finally forced to let us tear down in high winds. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.